Hey, 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 what up, party people? I am Francisca Aguayo. I am here to just talk with you a little bit about what's been going on with me. Last time I checked in, I was talking to you guys about this 90-day plan that I've got going, and I wanted to check in. So, how to have an attitude for gratitude is really what I've been working on, regardless to what the situation is. Having a an attitude for gratitude has really helped me, like my coach says, turn my head away from the wall. So what happens is when we don't have an attitude for gratitude, we'll tend to look at the wall as per se. The wall, what is the wall? The wall may be our inability to do something in the present moment, the unfamiliar, something uncomfortable, any situation, right? And then being able to flip the switch and actually be like, what can I be grateful for? And let me tell you, I've been working on this for a couple of days now. I think not even a week, it was since Friday. And even today, it just kept happening to me was when I would look at the wall and have a feeling of feeling disempowered, I will quickly look at having an attitude for gratitude and be like, what can I be grateful for in this moment of the awareness, right? So even being aware, like what it is that's stopping you, being aware of those sabotaging things that are going on in your mind, and you actually see them living out, you can be like, I'm grateful for that. Being grateful for it is looking at it and saying, there's nothing wrong with this, but what can I do, right? Or what is it? How can I look at it to perceive it better? And I'm telling you that it works. Well, one of the things that I took on, I used to really be anxious about learning new things. I was anxious about learning new software, about learning new things in my business, about learning how to do technology, all these things. And I had to wrap my head around, what am I grateful for? And instead of looking at it as something like I don't know how to do, something that I'm afraid of, or beating myself up, I don't understand it how we remember when we were kids, we learned how to tie our shoes, we learned how to ride a bike, we learned how to do things, and we used to be excited. I remember being excited to learn how to roller skate. I remember how many times I felt I didn't care. I would get back up and hula hoop. And I remember as a kid, there was nothing wrong with practicing, and there was nothing wrong with getting something done and not being perfect, right? As a kid, it was just like, it doesn't matter, let's try again, yay. And now it's like, as an adult, it's like, I won't even try, because automatically in my mind, I have a story about why I shouldn't try. I have a story about why it didn't work before, or I'll have a whole bunch of stories about why it won't work. And it's just like, oh, you're stuck in a story. And one thing that I learned was that my feelings, my emotions were feeding the story. So the more that I felt less than, the more that it fed the story, because the story had to match my feelings. So what shifted for me was when I had in one of my coaching sessions, what shifted for me was, what about we shift to practicing, right? I say, wow, that sounds good. Sounds doable, right? So when I have an attitude for gratitude, I'm grateful that I get to practice these things, that I get to give myself grace in learning. And when I start learning, now my head shifted from an attitude of I can't to an attitude of I'm grateful I get to. So instead of I got to, or I have to, or I should be doing, right? Because when we should all over each other, or we should all over ourselves. And what does that sound like, right? Who likes the feeling of being shoulded on, right? Nobody. So when we tell ourselves we should be doing, we're actually disempowering ourselves. We actually don't have anything to be grateful for, because what we're doing is that we're attacking ourselves and we're being mean to ourselves. So being able to have an attitude for gratitude gives me the ability to be kind to myself and say, what do you get to work on? What do you get to practice on? So if you're looking at a new year for yourself and you're looking at what you want to discover in the new year, if you're looking at losing weight, if you're looking at fixing your finances, starting a business, anything that we're looking to do new, there's always going to be some kind of uncomfortableness, and our brain is wired to keep us safe. So whatever doesn't feel comfortable, our brain runs to go to safety. So if it's uncomfortable, right, and we have a feeling of scared, our brain is going to go to try to make us feel better, which what it does is that it makes us go back to something that's familiar. So what I want to take on, what I've been taking on, and I want to share with you all, I've been taking on an attitude for gratitude and really meditating on the good and what I get to do versus what I got to do. So now I get to practice. I get to look at my software. I get to learn my products. I get to learn my marketing plan. I get to learn everything that I'm building. And it's a sense of excitement versus I can't do it or I don't know how to. Duh, you don't know how to, right? But get excited about learning how to and watch the shift. Watch the shift. I promise you, anything that you are working towards that has you in a fear tactic, that has you nervous or believing that you can't, if you flip the switch and you say, I get to practice, I get to learn, I get to be something that I've never been before. And instead of feeling the negative vibes of it, we have the attitude for gratitude to be like, you know what? That's something that I am able to do. That's something that I deserve to do. And what's so hard about it? Everything is hard when you don't know how. But having an open heart and having an open mind and looking at it like, how can I do this? Oh, a little bit at a time. I noticed for me, looking at the big picture as a visionary, it's exciting, but also overwhelming. And you have all these ideas and you're like, oh, where do I start? Right. And you're so excited, but then you get disempowered. So, what I've taken on is looking at the two steps in front of me, looking at the big elephant and saying, how am I going to chomp it down so that I can enjoy eating? It's like when we go to a buffet, we don't, or we go to a restaurant and we look at a menu, we don't get overwhelmed. We look for the section in the menu of what we like, right? So if I don't like fish, I'm not going to look at the fish menu. I'm just going to look at the menu of things that I do like. So I look at the menu and I say, what is it about today's menu that I get to do? What is it about today's menu that I am going to discover? And I'm going to have an attitude for gratitude while I'm learning. I'm going to have some grace with myself as I'm learning. There's nowhere to get to. There's no rush. And the feel of anxiety is because we're looking at the future. So anytime we look at the past, we get depressed, right? The would have, could have, should have. When we look at the future, we get anxious because we're like, would have, could have, should have, why, what can't. And we live our life in a car and we're taking it off a park and we're going and we're driving. And then we're looking at something in our future is making us anxious. So then we take the car off a drive and we put it in reverse and we run back. And when we run back to our past, we find out something else that makes us depressed and sad. So then we want to run back to the future. How about we stay in the present moment? Because the present moment, you can just be. And you can design and create. So you don't have to be anxious for the future. Let your past guide you into a path for your future. And just look at the now and be like, I get to learn this. And I'm going to learn this much today, or I'm going to do this much today out of the menu of the things in your life that you get to do. There's nothing in life that you have to do. There's nothing in life that should be hard on you as far as bettering yourself, growing, training, and developing yourself in your mental, in your physical, and in your spirituality. Being able to have the awareness, being able to acknowledge what's there and then accept it as so, right? The present. So then we can adjust accordingly to what it is that we're going to adjust to for the future. So having that attitude for gratitude and really practicing it, it's what's working for me for these next 90 days that I'm doing my 90-day plan of really being intentional with being silent and meditating and not doing, but really being in a sense of gratitude and seeing all the things that I get to do versus all the things that I have to do versus all the things that I got to do. I get to do them. I deserve to do them. I'm happy to learn. I'm just practicing. And I am actually in control playing the game of life versus the game of life playing me. See, when we don't manage our feelings manage us, and we end up mismanaging our lives because we chase feelings. So if we're chasing feelings, let's chase the good feelings, right? If we're chasing feelings and they're allowing us to mismanage our lives, we need to see and look and analyze what feelings are we choosing that are mismanaging our lives versus what feelings can we choose? What feelings do we deserve to choose so that we can practice and we can learn to live a life by design, that we really get the opportunity to say, you know what, this is not working for me. So I want to take a look and see what possibility I can create so that this does work for me. And I'm not stuck in a disempowering context where I'm feeling less than. Nothing's changed but the attitude for gratitude. What changes when you have an attitude for gratitude is that we're kinder to ourselves and we have more patience with ourselves. If we don't have patience and kindness with ourselves, it's going to be really hard to have patience and kindness with others, with your family, with your children, with your clients, with your coworkers. It all starts with how we treat ourselves and the grace that we show ourselves, then it's able to pour out into others, if that makes sense. So that's a little bit of what I'm growing through. Stay tuned for the next 90 days. It's going to be amazing. I'm going to be growing every day with you all. And it's not easy. Nobody said it was going to be easy, but it is amazing to see the results. It's amazing to look at yourself in the mirror one day and the next day see a whole total different person just because of what unlocked up here. The mindset is everything. Enable yourself to unlock that mindset. I can't even fathom where I would be if I didn't unlock that mindset. And now I get to continue to unlock, and there's more doors to open, and there's more opportunities, and it's a never ending. We get to grow until we go. If we erase the place that we think that we have to get to, if we erase the timelines, if we erase the should haves, and we just be authentically us and live in that moment of gratitude and have fun while we're on the journey, it's a difference. It's a difference. We get to live in the now. We're no longer depressed about the past and we're no longer anxious about the future. We're living in the now with an attitude for gratitude. And that's my share. I love you guys. Thank you so much for allowing me to share. Thank you for being part of my journey. And I hope and pray that whatever it is that I'm growing through, it's going to be able to spill over to you and that you're going to be able to take some of that for yourselves and put that into practice. I love you guys. Shalom.